Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ, presented by Verbo here. Okay, here is the thing. We are entering week 10. Taking a look at the NFC playoff picture, if things were to end today, 3 NFC East teams would be in, including the only undefeated team in the NFL, the 8-0 Eagles, also the Giants, who have been to the postseason since 2016. They haven't won a postseason game, though, dating back to 2011 when they won the Super Bowl. But will the Super Bowl hangover continue for the Rams, because they're on the outside looking in right now? Taking a look at the AFC playoff picture, Bills right now, they're on top, first in the AFC, 96% chance to make it to the postseason. Of course, we are all keeping an eye on Josh Allen's elbow. How will that unfold? The Jets sitting behind the Bills in the AFC East. They haven't been to the postseason in nearly 12 years. If things ended today, they would be in. The Chargers with the last spot where things stand now, but that means the reigning AFC champs, the Bengals, right now in the hunt, on the outside looking in. Let's welcome in NFL expert, draft expert, and the guy who has to deal with Will Brinson on a daily basis. So God bless you, Ryan Wilson here, talking about the playoff push. And Ryan, we're going to bet the playoff push right now. Let's start with the Jets sitting at 6-3. A great season for them so far. Look, they haven't been to the postseason since 2010. Right now, it is minus 125 to make it, plus 105 to miss. If you're going to put some money on the Jets, which way does it go?
Yeah, this has been a fantastic story, Amanda, and it's good to see both New York teams playing well. And you talked about that 2010 season. That was Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez was in year 2, like Zach Wilson, and that team was all about running the football and playing defense, which is sort of what this Jets team is. The difference is we're 12 years evolved in terms of how the NFL plays, and while you can lean on the running game if you're the Jets, they lost Breece Hall. They traded for James Robinson, who had a big week last week, but I don't know if it's sustainable. The defense is fantastic. Sauce Gardner's probably going to win Defensive Player, Rookie of the Year, and that I don't think I'm going to argue with that, but I just wonder, is Zach Wilson going to be able to step up over the final 2 months of the season and help this football team? He's shown glimpses of that, but he's also played some football that left you scratching your head, including 2 weeks ago. So I think they missed the playoffs, even though our guy Stephen O. Sportsline gives them a 55% chance to make it. I think there's a chance that if all the teams are looking at the AFC, they're the most likely that are currently inside the playoff bubble to find themselves outside once we get to early January.
Ryan, what's your tattoo of again? Which team?
Snoopy wearing a Bengals hoodie.
Okay, let's talk about the Bengals. How about that? I don't even know if you've shown it on air. I think you're going to have to do that at some point by the end of the season here. Maybe if they make it to the postseason, because where it stands right now, the Bengals, the reigning AFC champs, are on the outside looking in. They're at 5-4. They're minus 130 to make it. They're plus 110 to miss it. Here's the thing, though, Ryan. They have one of the hardest remaining schedules. They have the Titans, the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Bills, of course, the Ravens, the Browns with Deshaun Watson, who's going to be back by that point. What do you think about the Bengals making it back to the postseason?
Listen, Amanda, when you're a middle-aged man and your very first tattoo is of Snoopy wearing a Bengals jersey, you sort of have to be all in on the Bengals. So I think they have a chance to make, it's right there. You have to look to get your Bengals tattoo glasses to see it. But I think they have a chance. And you laid out a great case why things are bleak. Sportsline has them at 30% chance to make the playoffs for the reasons you laid out there. Jamar Chase isn't there, so they have to overcome that and hope they can get him back, because obviously he's a big part of what they do. But I keep coming back to this. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, even in year 3, and I think that's hard to dispute. And I think he's going to be able to put this team on his back, go through this incredibly tough schedule, and get them on the right path. And you're right. I'm laughing, Amanda, because I'm looking exactly to see how tough the schedule is.
It's awful.
According to Football Outsiders, which does a bunch of advanced analytics, it's the toughest schedule for the rest of the season. So the 30% chance sounds like about right, but I'm going on my gut and what Snoopy's telling me, and I think they're going to find their way into the playoffs.
Can we have you, if they do make it, can we get a cutoff Bengals t-shirt or something on air? I think we should. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. I'll talk to Will Brinson and we'll see if we can get that going. Let's talk about the Chargers right now. Right now, they're the last team in the AFC holding on to that last wildcard spot. They have not made it to the postseason since 2018. They were very close last season. That did not happen. And I guess the question with the Chargers is, are they going to pull a Chargers? Are they just going to somehow find a way to not make it? What do you think about this team?
That is, in fact, the biggest concern because they find ways to lose football games that they should win. They won that Falcons game only because the Falcons out-Falcons the Chargers who were charging, and that's good. But unfortunately, they're not playing the Falcons every week for the remainder of the season. They're at 58% chance to make the playoffs. As you noted, Amanda, they're currently number 7 of the 7 teams in the AFC. The concern is this. They averaged 23 points a game over the first half of the season, which was about middle of the pack. They gave up the 3rd most points, and the schedule that they had was relatively easy. The only 2 teams they played with winning records, the Chiefs and the Seahawks, they lost those games. The good news is that their schedule is among the easiest in the NFL over the second half. You hope Justin Herbert continues to play like he did last year for long stretches, and I'm leaning for them to make the playoffs. Part sentimentally, I had them going deep into the playoffs preseason and had them having a chance to win the actual Super Bowl. But that means they got to get this thing going after a mistake-filled first half of the season. I don't think Brandon Staley would disagree with that. So it starts with Justin Herbert. It's aided by the fact they have this easy schedule, and now they have to put it all together.
Tough game, though, this weekend for the Chargers facing the 49ers. So let's talk about then. Look, they have the best odds out of any team we've talked about to make the playoffs. They're minus 300, plus 250 to miss. So above them in their division, they have the Seahawks sitting at 6-3. They're at 4-4. Now, I talked to Pete Prisco. I talked to Brady Quinn. They still think they can win this division. Their schedule remaining somewhat middle of the road for the 49ers. So, Ryan, are the 49ers going to be in or out? Where would you put your money?
They're going to be in, and I forever have never been a huge Jimmy Garoppolo guy in terms of how he fits in that offense. I think there's a reason that Kyle Shanahan tried to move on from him several times until the Trey Lance injury. But I tell you what, credit to him for getting things done under tough circumstances and running the offense about as well as you can. They have Christian McCaffrey now. You mentioned they're in a division where the Seahawks are currently on top, and there's no guarantee that holds up no matter how well Geno Smith has played, and that's been a fun story for sure. But the other issue is, Amanda, who behind them is going to catch them? As we sit here, you mentioned the 49ers are 7th in the NFC. Then there's Atlanta, Washington, the Rams, the Packers. I mean, who? So I'm all in, even at minus 300, that the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. And look, there's a 50-50 chance I think they have a chance to win that division. If not, I think they still find their way to the postseason, though.
Not if Eugene Smith has anything to say about it. We'll see how they do, the Seahawks against the Bucs in Munich. All right, what about a value bet for a team to make the postseason? Where do you find some value there?
Yeah, this is the deep dive. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. You mentioned earlier that Deshaun Watson will be back after Week 11. That's coming up on us. They had that huge win before their bye against the Bengals where they absolutely destroyed that team, and Jacoby Brissett was a big part of that. The defense stepped up the running game. They all worked in concert. So this is plus 450. That's good. That gets you a little money in terms of winning the division, or making the playoffs, excuse me. The first half of the season, their schedule ranked at 11th. The second half of the season, it's 12th. So they lost a lot of football games they should have won. That Jets game where they were up by double digits with minutes to go and let Joe Flacco come. Those sorts of things stick with you. But again, if you can continue to play like you did going into your bye, that's good news. Sportsline has them at 13% chance to make the playoffs. But when they come off their bye, if they win against the Dolphins there, and it's only plus 4, their odds go up to 25%. So it looks a little better. That's a big game, obviously, against Miami. But I think there's a chance there at plus 450 to make a little money.
A value for a team to make it in the Browns. Let's talk about a value bet for a team to miss. It's interesting you're going with a team that's 6-2, holding on to the 6th seed if things were to end now. So what team is this, Ryan Wilson?
Yeah, the Giants, and I don't feel great about it. I think the Giants, like the Jets, are a fun story. I love what Brian Dable's done, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, all those guys are having sort of resurgent seasons. But here's the thing. I would have gone with the Bills because we don't know what's up with Josh Allen. But guess what? The Bills are off the board because no one knows what's going on with Josh Allen. Tampa Bay would have been another option. But again, how are they catching? I heard you and Josina talk about Tom Brady can, find himself in Germany. I don't know if that's going to happen because that team is so bad. And of course, maybe the Patriots are a team that can make that run. But they're behind Miami, and we don't know, with Matt Patricia calling the plays, how that's going to work out there. So I went with the Giants. Didn't feel great about it. They have a 92% chance to make the playoffs, according to Sportsline. But I just wonder if maybe all these close games, the games where they've been trailing and had to come back, if they'll catch up with them in the second half. And the number is plus 190 that they miss. Again, I hope they make it. All my Giants friends, I'm happy for them. But, Noah put me up to it, so I picked the Giants, and I don't feel great about it.
Okay. I think you've said that 4 times, so we definitely do not feel great about it, but we're going to pick something. That is the value bet there. Really quickly, Ryan Wilson, walk us through your playoff projections right now.
Well, I'll make it easy. The NFC, nothing changes because as I've been talking about for the last 10 minutes, who's going to catch the teams that are in the top 7. And then finally, I have the Jets and Bengals swapping out on the AFC side. The Jets are currently inside that bubble. The Bengals are on the outside. And I think a long shot, Bengals get hot in the second half and sneak in at number 7 there.
Ryan Wilson, we appreciate it. Ryan, as mentioned at the top, part of the Pick 6 podcast alongside Will Brinson. Latest episode involving Ryan Wilson and Will Brinson there. Week 10 Thursday Night Football recap. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. But guess what? This podcast is awesome, and they make it interesting. Dante Foreman getting revenge on the Falcons. And when should Marcus Mariota sit down? Make sure to download and follow your daily NFL podcast. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.